Okay, so I'm the highway groupie, and what we're going to make today is rice pudding without using any sugar. If you're not able to use dairy products, then this is also for you. Here are our basic ingredients. Well, since we're making rice pudding, we have to have rice. And the rice that's being used is whole grain rice. So we want to use the best. We don't want to use the white fluffy stuff, what I call cotton batten or Uncle Ben's. We need a bit of vegetable oil. It could be soya oil if you want, but not olive oil, just a very bland oil. We have some sort of milk substitute. It could be rice and almond milk, could be almond milk, whatever you like. This is actually a blend of rice milk with almond milk. We need some salt. For that I'm using herb amara, which is sea salt with kelp and other things in it for the iodine. We need a bit of vanilla. We want some cinnamon, and we're going to put in some cloves as well. We also need about a cup of water. And here we have 5 ripe platanos. These are frozen, but you could also use them fresh if you like, but they need to be ripe, toward a very yellowish or even getting toward black on the outside cover. So that's the basic ingredients. So now we're going to start with the water. And the water is going in our pot here. To that we add a little bit of herb amara salt and obviously a bit of heat. We want this to heat up, so I'm going to cover it for now. As the water is heating, if you have fresh platano rather than frozen, then you can use the time to start peeling the platano. So it's very easy. It's very easy to make to peel the platano. You cut off the top, cut off the bottom, and then you slice it down the back. And once it's sliced down the back, then you just open it up, and you have your peeled platano. So these are already cut. So you can see they're already cut in half, and then the half again. So they're actually quartered. We're just going to throw them in the pot like that. We don't need to chop them up. You can if you want to, but it's not really necessary. So the total quantity of platano that we put in is 5 average size platano. Put 5 of them in. So that's one of the main ingredients. That and the rice are 2 main ingredients. Now, while the platano is heating up, we'll get our eggs ready. So what we're going to do is we're going to beat the eggs like you're making scrambled eggs. And for that, we're going to add a little bit of our milk. Doesn't need a lot. We just want to scramble them up. So that's basically what we want. We just want it nice and smooth, nicely mixed up. And as soon as the platano is soft enough in the pot, then we're going to mix the eggs with the platano, and then we'll go from there. So I'm separating these out a little bit so that they will heat up a little faster. We want them to get pretty soft. Obviously, being frozen, they're going to be soft a bit, but not enough. And you notice some are a little darker than others. That's because some were a little riper than others when they were put in the freezer. Okay, so let's check in on our platano, see how it's doing. And, oh, it's coming nice and fluffy, it's nice and soft. This is really good. So we only have to cook this just a little bit more. We're going to cook a little bit more with the egg in it this time. So I'm going to turn that right down. It was cooking at medium. Now we're going to turn it right down to low. I'm going to take our egg and pour it right in there. Get as much of it out of it as we can. Okay, if it looks a little stringy, don't worry about it because this is all going to go through the blender. So we're going to mix it into the hot water. What we want to do is we want it to cook. Basically, we want the egg to cook. So as soon as that is cooked, then we're going to shut it off and let it cool a bit so that we can run it through the blender. Now it really doesn't take long for the egg to cook. In fact, the mix is looking pretty good. Really whatever heat is left in there, but you notice how it's already starting to come up a little thick? That's good. This is going to give us our pudding texture. The egg and the platano are going to be responsible for the pudding texture, and we're going to see how we're going to get all of this to turn into rice pudding in just a minute. Now, as you notice with most of my recipes, I say add this or that to taste. And that's because your taste is going to be different from mine. For example, there are extra ingredients that we could put in. For example, raisins. Some people like to put raisins in the rice pudding. I don't, so I'm not putting it in mine, but you could in yours. How much? Well, just a couple of tablespoons or so should be enough. The same thing with our spices. When should you add your spices? Some people like to put the cinnamon afterward. After it's in the bowl, you just put a little bit on the top. Others like to put it in the mix. I like putting it in the mix, and I'm going to do that in a minute. The same with this. This has to go in the mix. This we cannot put afterward. It just is too strong of a spice. Again, how much depends on you. Now we have about 350 milliliters of rice. That's about 1.5 cups. And not pressed down. This is just shaken down. Just give it a few taps like that, and you'll see what the level is. And again, is to taste. If you like more rice, put in more rice. If you like less, put in less. So we're going to start off with 1.5. I'm going to see what it looks like in mine, and then I'll decide how much I want to put. The other reason that this is variable is because your platano could be different sizes. So that will make a difference. So let's put our cinnamon in now. And how much you put is up to you. That's about how much I like. When I'm eating it, I will actually put a little bit more on top. So that's about what we want. We just mix it in loosely because, like I said, we're going to be blending this in a minute. So we just want to distribute it a little bit around our mixture here. Does not look appetizing at this point, but trust me, it gets better as we go along. And this is our I was going to say allspice, but it's not. It's actually, you could use allspice, or you can use cloves. This is cloves. Either one will work. Don't put in a lot though, because it will take over your pudding. You don't want to do that. So just a few little sprinkles, and that's enough. So we just mix it around a little bit because it will get blended. We're not really worried. One of our optional ingredients is nutmeg. You can add it or not add it. It does add a bit of a bite to it. If you don't want to use nutmeg, but you do want to have a bit of a bite, you can also use ginger. It's another option you can put in, or not. It depends on your taste. I'm going to add a bit of nutmeg to mine. To add the nutmeg, we just get a raw nut. You can also buy this pre-ground nutmeg if you want, but I like to have it fresh. Like the cloves or allspice, whichever you put in, this is also pretty strong, and your rice pudding does not have a very strong flavor. It's not like apples. So you don't want to put a lot in, but again, it's to taste. If you like a lot, put in a lot. If you don't, well, you don't. Okay, so at this point, we're going to be blending what we have here into our mixture, into the blender. We're going to blend it, smooth it out. Now, we notice the ingredients that we have left. We have vanilla, we have oil. Those are basically the ingredients we have left. Any of the spices are optional afterward, but I think we're pretty much done with the spices. So here's what we're going to blend into this. We're going to take some of the banana mix. Now the final milk, I call it banana because they call it that in Creole, but it's actually platano. Some of the milk we're going to put in. The total amount of milk we're going to use is roughly 1 cup. So 1 cup or about 200 milliliters, somewhere in that range, okay? Again, it's somewhat to taste and it depends on how thick your platano is. So I'm just going to add a bit of that. And I'm going to add a tablespoon of oil. And we will let her rip. So now you will see it comes out nice and smooth. That's what we want. Nice, smooth. This is very pudding-like. And this is almost the final stage. Oh, that is good. Okay, so again, we're putting in our platano. So that we're putting in about almost half a liter or just under 2 cups of platano, and then 1 tablespoon of oil, and some milk. Put in about 1/4 to 1/2 cup. Again, it's to taste, your taste, not mine. So let's beat that up. When you can see it twirling around the top there, you know that it's sufficiently blended. And our last portion here. Now this last bit, we'll put it straight back in the pot because we are not finished with our rice pudding. So as we can see here, we have our rice pudding. To make it rice pudding, I added 1.5 cups. Didn't like 1.5 cups, I liked a little more in my rice pudding. 2 cups with this amount of platano. But again, it depends on the size of the platano, depends on how much milk you put in, as to really how much rice you put into it. So this has about 2 cups. You can see a nice texture to it. Also, what I added was 2 tablespoons of vanilla. So 2 tablespoons of vanilla, 2 cups of rice, and this is isn't that beautiful pudding texture? You have rice pudding without any refined sugar, without any dairy milk in it. So there's our rice pudding. You can see it keeps that nice pudding-like texture. I'm just going to add a bit of cinnamon to the top. And voila, rice pudding. What I like to do sometimes with my rice pudding is I'll even add a little bit of milk to it as I'm eating it. Or you can throw some carob chips. If you have carob chips, you can throw a few carob chips on top. That's also very nice combination with this. Raisins, if you want to put raisins on top, you can do that. Very nice combination with this, or any combination of the above. So enjoy your rice pudding, made without any refined sugar, but you would never know it to taste it. To find more recipes like this, and to receive some good counsel on how to live without refined sugar, please look up this title on Amazon, No Sugar Added, or How I Live Without Refined Sugar and Still Enjoy Life by the Highway Groupie. The book is available exclusively on Amazon. Hi. If you enjoyed what you saw in that video, then please click the subscribe button over here. Yeah, that one. Click the subscribe button, please. And whenever I put a video up, you will find out about it. Please.